I am 70 years old, and if there is one hard truth I have learned after retirement, it is this. You cannot count on your family to carry you through the years ahead, not because they do not love you, but because life pulls them in too many directions. After 60, things shift. The phone rings less. People stop asking how you are doing. You walk into a room and sometimes feel invisible. It is not just loneliness. It is the slow realization that the support you expected may never come. This is not bitterness. This is clarity. You need something stronger than hope. You need structure. You need 6 pillars that will not crumble, no matter who leaves, who forgets, or who moves on. In this video, I'm going to share with you the only 6 things I rely on now, and trust me, they are not what I believed when I first stepped into retirement. If you are over 60 and still hoping others will take care of you, this message might save your future. 1. Health management. When I turned 60, I thought aging would be gentle, something that happens slowly, almost politely. But the truth is far different. Growing older is not frightening because of the wrinkles or the gray hair. It is frightening because your body begins sending quiet warnings, and most of us ignore them. A little stiffness in the morning, a short breath after walking a single block, a headache that lasts longer than it should. We tell ourselves it is nothing. We say we are just tired, but at 70, I can tell you plainly, every ignored signal becomes a louder problem later. You cannot build a stable retirement on wishful thinking, and you cannot rely on your family to notice what you keep hiding. The biggest mistake older adults make is assuming that health is something that simply happens, instead of something we must actively manage. Many people my age avoid doctor visits because they fear bad news, but that fear only delays solutions. Setting up a regular relationship with one primary care physician is one of the smartest decisions I ever made. When you see the same doctor twice each year, they know your numbers, your patterns, your habits. They catch small changes before they grow teeth. This alone can prevent thousands of dollars in medical bills and months of unnecessary suffering. Managing health after 60 is not about dramatic changes. It is about consistent, simple systems. I keep a small notebook on my kitchen counter where I record my morning blood pressure and how I slept the night before. It takes 30 seconds. That tiny habit helped my doctor adjust my medication correctly and prevented a dangerous spike last winter. I also learned to schedule 2 standing appointments every year, 1 physical checkup and 1 full blood test. They go on my calendar like birthdays. Movement is another pillar most retirees underestimate. You do not need a gym. You do not need to run. What you do need is steady, daily motion. I joined a senior exercise program at my local center, thanks to the Silver Sneakers benefit that came with my Medicare plan. 3 mornings a week, I stretch, lift light weights, and laugh with people my age who understand exactly how it feels when a knee cracks loud enough for everyone to hear. That community and routine gave me back my confidence, my balance, and even a bit of my pride. And let me say this clearly. Do not wait until pain forces you to act. Pain is already the final warning sign. When I was 65, I brushed off a simple ache in my right knee for months. By the time I dealt with it, I needed physical therapy and spent weeks walking with hesitation. Had I addressed it early, the solution would have been simple and cheap. Taking care of your health is not selfish. It is the most responsible thing you can do. Because after 60, your body becomes both your oldest companion and your most fragile possession. Family may visit, friends may call, but your health is the only partner that is with you every waking moment. You must protect it, manage it, and respect it, long before it abandons you. 2. Financial independence. When I was still working, retirement felt like a dream. A distant place where mornings would be quiet, the coffee would be slow, and the bills would somehow take care of themselves. I believed, like many others, that Social Security would be enough, that my mortgage would be gone, and that my kids would help if things got tight. But let me tell you, that is not how it works. Not for most of us. After retirement, every dollar has a weight to it. A surprise dental bill, a broken furnace in December, a sudden hospital visit. They do not care if it is the middle of the month and your Social Security check is already spent. And if you are like me, you do not want to ask your kids for help. You do not want to be that parent who becomes a burden even when they say it is no problem. The truth is, the older you get, the more expensive life becomes, and the fewer chances you have to fix your financial mistakes. I learned this lesson the hard way at 68. My car broke down in the middle of January. The repair cost was over $1,500. I had not budgeted for anything beyond groceries and bills. I had no emergency fund. I ended up putting it on a high-interest credit card. It took me almost a year to pay it off. That single event taught me something vital. You do not need more money in retirement. You need more control. Now I track every expense. I use a free budgeting app called Good Budget, but you can just as easily write things down in a notebook. The point is to know exactly where your money is going. I divide my spending into 4 categories: must-pay bills, groceries and medicine, personal extras, and emergencies. Every month, I put aside at least $100 into a small savings account I call Survival Cash. That fund has saved me more than once. Another thing people overlook is Medicare. Every year, during open enrollment, I review my plan. You would be surprised how many people stick with the same plan for years and never check if something better or cheaper exists. Last year, I switched to a supplement that covered more prescriptions and dropped my out-of-pocket costs by over $800 annually. That is $800 I now use for better food and physical therapy. Let us talk about family and money. It is a hard topic. When my son asked me for help with a down payment on his house, I wanted to say yes, but I knew doing so would mean dipping into my retirement savings. I said no. It hurt. But I also knew that if I gave away what I needed to survive, I would become the one calling him in 5 years, asking for help. That is not how I want to live, and it is not the example I want to set. Love does not mean giving up your independence. Being financially independent after 60 is not about luxury. It is about dignity. It is about being able to make your own decisions without waiting for someone to approve them. It is about being able to buy a warm coat when winter comes, or fix your teeth, or donate $10 to a cause you care about, without guilt or fear. You may think it is too late to take control, but it is not. Even small changes matter. Start with $100. Cancel one thing you do not need. Build one habit that keeps you accountable. Independence is not a number in a bank account. It is a mindset. It is saying to yourself, I will not live the last chapter of my life as someone else's responsibility. I will stand on my own with pride, even if it means standing on a smaller budget. Because freedom at this stage of life is worth more than anything money can buy. 3. Emotional resilience. No one tells you how quiet life gets after 60. You retire, the house empties out, the calendar clears, and for a few weeks, it feels like a well-earned rest. But then the silence grows heavier. The phone doesn't ring as often. The dinners become leftovers. Holidays are shorter. Your children love you, but they are busy. Your friends? Some have moved. Some have passed. And some, truth be told, are just as lonely as you are, but too proud to say it out loud. I used to sit by the window in the morning with my coffee and pretend everything was fine, but I knew something was off. I was smiling less, laughing less. I felt like a ghost inside my own life. It was not depression in the clinical sense. I was still getting out of bed, still functioning. But there was a quiet sadness that never seemed to leave. This is what I call the emotional weight of aging, and it is heavier than most people admit. That is why emotional resilience is not just thinking positive. It is learning how to live with change, with loss, with the slow drifting apart of relationships. It is accepting that even when you do everything right, people will still forget to call, they will still cancel plans, and you will still have to wake up and find meaning in the day. The first thing I did was give myself permission to name what I was feeling. I started journaling, just a few lines every morning. Today I feel ye was enough to unlock thoughts I had buried for years. Anger, disappointment, regret, all came up. And once they were on paper, they felt lighter. I was no longer carrying them around silently. Then I sought connection, but not the kind that takes a lot of effort. I joined an online group for men over 65. We meet once a week on a video call. Some of us talk, some just listen. But knowing there is a space where I can be fully honest without pretending to be okay has made a huge difference. Another thing that helped me was speaking with a counselor. Yes, even at 70. Most people do not realize Medicare covers mental health services. I was matched with a professional who specialized in working with seniors. We did 6 sessions over the phone, and it helped me sort through decades of unspoken pressure, especially around grief and expectations I had of my family. If you are not ready for therapy, even a regular conversation with someone you trust can be healing. But it has to be real, not small talk. Find one person you can say the hard things to. I feel left out, or I miss being needed, or even I don't know what to do with myself anymore. You would be surprised how many people are waiting to say the same thing. They just need someone to go first. Lastly, I learned the power of routines. When emotions become unpredictable, routines create stability. I walk the same path every afternoon. I water my plants at the same time every morning. These small rituals give structure to the day. And when life feels like it's falling apart, structure is your anchor. Emotional resilience does not mean you never feel sad or lost. It means you know how to keep going anyway. It means you stop expecting others to fix your loneliness and start building the tools to face it yourself. That strength, though invisible, becomes the foundation for everything else, because at this age, the storms will still come. But now I know I can stand in the rain and not be washed away. 4. Social connections. They say you find out who your real friends are when times get tough, but I believe something else. You find out who your true circle is when you get old. When I was younger, I thought I had dozens of friends, people from work, neighbors, golf buddies, friends of friends. We would talk at parties, meet for dinner, exchange Christmas cards. But when I retired, when I no longer had a job title, a schedule, or any usefulness in their lives, the silence came quick. I do not say that with bitterness. I say it with clarity, because now I understand that many relationships were built around roles, not around real connection. And when the role ends, so does the friendship. After 60, especially after 70, building and maintaining real social connection becomes not just helpful, it becomes essential. Without it, your health declines faster, your memory weakens, and your days blend into each other like gray wallpaper. But here is the truth. Most older adults do not feel like starting over. Making new friends at 70? It feels awkward. It feels unnatural. Sometimes it even feels a little embarrassing. I used to sit at church and leave right after the service, not because I was in a rush. I just did not know what to say. Then one Sunday, a man about my age tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I wanted to grab a cup of coffee. That coffee turned into a weekly routine. Eventually, we invited 2 more guys. Now, every Friday at 10 a.m., 4 men in their late 60s and early 70s sit in a small cafe, talking about sports, wives, grief, health, and sometimes nothing at all. That ritual saved me from becoming socially invisible. Here is what I have learned. You do not need a crowd. You need 3 to 5 people you can trust, who see you as you are now, not as who you used to be. You also need to make the first move, even when it feels uncomfortable. You can start by joining a local community class, painting, book clubs, walking groups, not for the skill, but for the people. Volunteering 1 day a week. I read to children at the library once a month. It gives me more joy than I expected. Hosting something small. Invite one person over for coffee. You do not need a clean house. You just need a full heart. Reconnecting intentionally. I called an old friend from high school last year just to say hello. He was stunned. We talk once a month now. And here is a hard truth. Your children and grandchildren are not your social life. They are part of your family. They love you, but they cannot fill the space that peers can. If you put all your emotional eggs into the family basket, you will feel disappointed, not because they do not care, but because they have lives of their own. You must create your own circle. People who understand what it means when your back hurts for no reason. People who know how it feels when the world seems to be moving too fast and forgetting you. People who will notice if you do not show up 1 week. At this stage of life, connection does not come naturally. You must build it on purpose. But once you do, it becomes one of the strongest supports you will ever have. Not because it solves all your problems, but because it reminds you, you are still seen. You are still valuable. You are still here. 5. Purpose and passion. No one warns you about the emptiness that comes when the to-do list disappears. For 40 years, I had a reason to get out of bed. A job to do, kids to raise, bills to pay, deadlines to meet. My days were full, even if they were exhausting. Then one day, it all stopped. Retirement arrived like a soft landing, but after a while, it felt more like a slow fade. For a few months, I enjoyed the freedom. No alarm clocks, no meetings. I watched shows. I tinkered in the garage. I organized drawers that didn't need organizing. But somewhere around year 1, a strange question started creeping in. What am I waking up for? You see, no one talks about this. We plan for retirement like it's a permanent vacation. But the truth is, after the vacation wears off, what's left? What do you do when you're no longer needed? Not as a parent, not as a boss, not even as a provider. That's when the real challenge begins. Not physical, but emotional and spiritual. Purpose is oxygen for the soul. Without it, everything slows down. When I hit that wall, I didn't panic, but I did get honest. I asked myself, what made me feel alive before life got busy? For me, it was writing and storytelling. So I bought a notebook and began writing short letters to my younger self. Not for anyone else, just for me. It gave my mornings structure and my thoughts direction. Then, little by little, I got bolder. I started teaching a free workshop at the local library once a month. How to tell your life story. 5 people showed up. It didn't matter. I came home with energy in my chest I hadn't felt in years. Here's the truth. You are never too old to rediscover passion. But you do have to go looking. Some ideas for you. Teach what you know. Whether it's fixing engines, sewing, fishing, or baking, someone out there wants to learn from you. Put up a flyer. Post online. Start with one person. Revisit an old dream. Did you want to paint? Sing? Learn guitar? Take photos? Forget being good. Focus on being engaged. Volunteer for something meaningful, not just to fill time, but to make impact. Help veterans. Read to children. Feed the hungry. Share your story. You've lived decades. Your perspective matters. Write it. Record it, even if it's just for your grandchildren someday. The biggest mistake retirees make is thinking their best contributions are behind them. That is a lie. In fact, with your wisdom, patience, and experience, Your next chapter might be your most meaningful one, if you choose to write it. Having purpose does not mean you need a 5-year plan. It means that today you have something that excites your spirit, even just a little. It gives the day color. It gives your voice volume. It reminds you, I am not done, not yet. You don't need to be busy to have purpose. You need to be lit up from the inside. And once that spark returns, everything, from your health to your relationships, starts to feel lighter again. Because when you have something to look forward to, you don't just exist, you live. 6. Inner peace, the quiet power no one can take from you. In my younger years, I thought peace came from everything around me falling into place. Enough money, a happy marriage, healthy kids, a good roof, a working car. And for a while, I had those things. But I still did not feel peaceful. Then later in life, I lost some of those things. My wife passed, my body changed, my circle grew smaller. And oddly enough, that's when I began to discover what real peace was. Because here's what no one tells you. True peace doesn't come when everything goes right. It comes when you no longer need everything to go right. I remember a night not long ago sitting in my living room. The house was quiet. The lights were off. I was alone, and I should have felt empty. But I didn't. I felt still. I felt whole. And I realized, after 70 years of chasing things, fixing things, controlling things, I could finally let go. That's the heart of inner peace, letting go of what you can't control and finding gratitude in what's left. Now let me be clear. Peace is not passivity. It's not giving up. It's not pretending that aging, loss, or disappointment don't hurt. They do. But peace means not resisting them, not wasting energy fighting the natural rhythm of life. Here's what I began doing to protect my inner peace. I stopped expecting people to behave a certain way. When my son doesn't call for 2 weeks, I don't take it personally. He's busy. It doesn't mean I'm forgotten. It just means life is happening. I created daily stillness. Every morning, I sit for 5 minutes in silence. No phone, no noise. I breathe slowly and simply let myself be. I call it my reset. I forgave people, quietly, not through dramatic conversations, just inside. I let go of old grudges, especially the ones that stole joy from me, not them. I stopped chasing more. I don't need a bigger anything. I just need a deeper connection with the small things I already have. A good book, a warm drink, a peaceful evening. Most importantly, I stopped asking, what's next? And started asking, what matters now? Because at 70, the future is not something to chase. It's something to receive, one moment at a time with open hands. And when I lay my head down at night, I no longer count what I've lost. I count what I still get to love. The laugh of a grandchild, the smell of rain, a call from an old friend, the fact that I can still walk, still think, still give, still feel. Peace is not found. Peace is practiced every single day. And once you begin to carry it inside you, no one, not age, not time, not even grief, can take it away. 6 pillars, 1 life. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to thank you. Not just for listening, but for caring enough about your own life to reflect, to reconsider, and maybe even to rebuild. I'm 70 years old. I've learned that growing older is not about giving up. It's about letting go of what no longer holds us, so we can hold on tighter to what still matters. We spent this time talking about 6 pillars. Not theories, not motivational fluff, but real, lived truths. Your health is your engine. Without it, everything else stalls. Your financial independence is your freedom, not from luxury, but from fear. Your emotional resilience is what keeps you standing when the world goes quiet. Your social circle is your mirror. Choose people who see your worth. Your purpose is the fire in your chest, even if it only burns quietly. And your inner peace is your shelter when the storms come. And they always come. These 6 pillars, they won't replace your family, but they'll carry you when your family can't, or simply doesn't. That's not a failure. That's life. We all come into this world alone, and we all leave it the same way. But what we build in between, the habits, the values, the small choices made every day, that's what gives us dignity and grace and strength. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: you are still here. You are still capable. You are still allowed to live deeply, love fully, and matter just as much now as ever. Start small. Pick one pillar today. Build from there. You don't need to do it all. You just need to begin. And remember, you may be older, but you are not done. Not even close.